Hey guys, so today I'm going to speak to you about how to make money from freelance writing. You're probably thinking, freelance what? Make money from writing? Yes, you can make money from freelance writing, and you don't actually need to be good at writing to actually explore this. If you're really enjoying today's video, I'd love for you guys to just hit the like button, just support us here on the Humble Penny, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Now, this subject of making money from freelance writing is one that I never thought would be something that I might even be exploring myself. I got to see my English GCSE, and boy, I have historically never been good at writing. In fact, I never thought I could ever even start what I'm doing today. 3 years ago, we launched the Humble Penny, and I started writing, and today I've written over 300 articles. And what I found is that, as somebody who started without any knowledge of writing, I've basically just gotten better as time has passed. If you're somebody who thinks, well, actually, I'd love to make a bit of extra money on the side as a side hustle, but I'm not good at writing at all, then you should pay close attention, because I can guarantee that if you explore this idea of freelance writing to perhaps generate some extra income, you can over time, and it just takes some practice. Now, what is a freelance writer? A freelance writer is somebody, as the name suggests, who writes and gets paid for writing. You write perhaps for a website, and there are millions and millions of websites, as we all know, or you might write for a local newspaper or for a magazine. Essentially, you write content that people read, and you get paid for doing it on a freelance basis. Now, how much can freelance writers make realistically from their writing? Now, this is the million-dollar question, and it really depends on a number of factors, such as the niche you're writing for, your experience at writing, and it also depends on your skills and so on. In fact, we interviewed a friend of ours who wrote a guest post on our blog and really gave us her practical experiences. In fact, it's on the back of that particular guest post that I'm actually sharing a lot of thoughts for today's video. So I'm going to put a link to that particular article below and above. But based on my research, right, indeed, the website said that on average, for the average job posting on their website, they pay around £98.13 per day. But this amount that they pay is typically for employees, i.e., people who are actually hired as writers rather than people who are doing it on a freelance basis. Let's explore now how much you should potentially charge for you to become a freelance writer. To answer that question, there are 3 possible ways that you can charge a fee in order to be paid as a freelance writer. One is that you charge per hour. Number 2 is that you charge per word. And number 3 is that you charge based on a retainer basis. Now, in terms of charging per hour, the research we've done has shown that it's probably best not to charge on a per hourly basis, because to be fair, you might not be somebody who types very quickly when it comes to writing. And so charging on a per hour basis might not suit you very much, although it might suit other people who have far more experience and people who might be able to write a lot more quickly, who might actually undercut you because you are charging per hour and perhaps not delivering the work as quickly as possible. If you were going to charge per hour though, a good rate to charge per hour is around £50 per hour. But if you're not comfortable with that sort of amount, then a good starting point as a complete newbie is at around £25 per hour as a freelance writer. Now, the second way you can charge is to charge per word, and charging per word is a lot more common. In fact, it's the way in which people who are freelance writers typically charge their rate to be paid. Now, if you are somebody who is writing for a top level magazine, a top level publication, then a typical rate you might charge might be around £1 per word. So if you're writing a 1,000 word article, then you'd be looking to charge at around £1,000 for that particular article. Remember, that assumes that you are somebody who's experienced. Now, if you're somebody who's not quite at that level, you're doing this as a hobby, for example, it's expected that you would charge around 5 pence per word. Okay, so if you are writing a 1,000 word article, then you'd be expecting to charge around £50 for that specific article. Now, if you're someone who's got a bit more experience and you're writing for an average publication, has been in existence for some time, then you might be able to charge anything between 15 pence per word and 25 pence per word, earning anything between £150 to £250 per article. And of course, if you multiply all that out and say, for example, even at the really low end, and you did 4 articles in a month, being 1 a week, then you're making at least £200 per month from writing as a freelancer. Now, the third way you can charge is by you charging a monthly retainer. This will really depend on how many articles you are expected to deliver on a monthly basis. A good way to kind of work out what you might charge might be to work it out on an hourly basis and then try to multiply that across the number of articles that you might be writing on a monthly basis. And because you're getting this type of work on a regular, you might then give a bit of a discount to make sure that you are pricing your services properly and competitively. I've got some really interesting articles if you're really interested in this idea of what you should be pricing yourself as a freelancer. I'm going to put those in the links below for you to head over on our blog. Check out that article, because that article really then has some very important links that you might want to check out to learn a bit more about how to price your services as a freelance writer. Now, where can you find freelance writing work? This is usually the number one question that many people have. I've got here on my phone a list of places that I'd suggest that you should check out if you're someone who's really interested in this idea of freelance writing. The first is for you to check out content mills. A good example of that is Text Broker, okay? The second is to check out job boards such as ProBlogger or Contently. You can also check out paid job boards, and a good example of that is one called Pay to Blog. The fourth is that you can check out sites that actually pay you to guest post. And finally is to check out Facebook groups. These are very, very popular, and many people who run, blogs, for example, or run various types of websites are always on the lookout for somebody to write for their website. In fact, at this point of this video, I'd like to put a call to action out. If you're somebody who's interested in writing for a personal finance website, I'd be more than happy to have a chat with you about the possibility of writing for our blog at thehumblepenny.com. So head over there at thehumblepenny.com and, get in touch and let me know your level of experience and what you can potentially do for us. And we can explore possibility of you becoming a freelance writer for our website. Now, how should you pitch yourself as a freelance writer? Now, in order to get these freelance writing gigs, you have to actually get used to outreaching, reaching out to various outlets and letting them know that you are a freelance writer. This is often known as pitching, okay? So here are some top tips for how you can go about pitching yourself as a freelance writer. The first tip is to pitch often. The more you pitch, the more you become more experienced at pitching. You start to figure out whether you might be the perfect fit for a particular job or not. The second tip is don't pitch for a job you don't think you're going to be a good fit for, or a job you think you might not be able to deliver on time. Next is try and pitch for jobs that you think you are the ideal fit for. Say, for example, if you're a mom who lives in a city like London, for example, and you find a publication that actually writes for moms in London, then the chances are you are the perfect fit for that particular job. All right, so the next one is don't let them know that you are brand new to freelance writing. Now, this is not quite the same as lying, but if you can avoid saying that you're completely brand new to freelance writing, then it's more likely to work in your favor. Next one is to send links of your work to actually prove that you are a freelance writer. This is, of course, assuming that you have links to work that you've done before as a freelance writer specifically. Right, the next one is to be confident and friendly. A lot of people actually choose people to work for them because they just simply like them. They love their vibes, and if they're really positive and forward-looking, then they're more likely to choose them as the people that they hire for a specific job. And the final tip here is to let them know where you saw the advert for that particular piece of work. Let them know why you feel you'll be the ideal candidate for this piece of work. Try and keep it nice, short, and sweet. Okay, so now that we've talked about how to go about potentially pitching yourself as a freelance writer, how exactly do you now get started? The first thing you need to do is to choose a niche. Now, it's easy to say that you write all kinds of articles or that you can write for all kinds of niches, but it's key to actually choose a particular one that you want to focus on. Say, for example, that you write personal finance articles or that you write for food blogs, for example. There are different niches that you can explore depending on your interests or your passions or things that you just like researching. There are also niches that are more profitable than others. For example, B2B niches tend to pay a lot more than B2C niches themselves. Next thing to do is to put together a portfolio. A portfolio is a collection of articles that you have written in the past as a freelance writer. If you are a complete beginner, then you've got to start somewhere. Write an article in your chosen niche that becomes the beginning of you creating a portfolio in order to present yourself as a freelance writer. Okay, so the final step is to start looking for some work. Even though it sounds so obvious, and I've shared this idea and I've given you the various things that you might want to explore as a freelance writer, oftentimes we know what we need to do, but we never actually take the steps to begin doing it. Our brain wants to keep us in our comfort zone and keep us away from doing that outreach work that's necessary for us to be able to land those freelance writing gigs. So the thing to do here is to come up with a plan of action. And that plan of action could include a list of things that you know are specific tasks, mini tasks that will take you from here, being somebody who has absolutely no experience or who's learning freelance writing, to coming all the way here where you become that person who lands their first freelance gig and becomes somebody who gets paid potentially on a monthly retainer to write various freelance writing articles. Part of your plan could be that you make a list, as I mentioned earlier. So things such as decide on a niche. That's a particular task that you need to do in order to begin this process. Next is to write some articles for your portfolio. If you can't think of specific topic ideas, have a look at finance sites or look at Google for some ideas. Next is for you to join some Facebook groups where your ideal customers might actually hang out. Next task is for you to decide on how much exactly you are going to be charging for your freelance writing efforts. Next is for you to practice writing as much as possible. Don't criticize your own writing, just write. And you find that the more you write, the more comfortable you become with hearing your own voice and actually putting those articles out. Next is for you to read some articles on how to outline an article, how to actually plan an article. I do this when I plan various blog posts, and I had to learn that myself. You should also read up on copywriting techniques. You can read these on the internet simply by Googling them, or even doing them here on Google by typing in specific keywords like copywriting tips into a search bar here on YouTube. Another task might be for you to join some of the sites I mentioned earlier in order for you to find some freelance writing work. Next task could be that you actually decide to start pitching for specific freelancing jobs and doing it on a regular basis. And the final task I'd mentioned is for you to get a PayPal account for your side business, because hey, what's the point of doing all that work if you don't have a specific way in which you are going to get paid for your freelancing work? Okay guys, I hope this has given you a good intro into what it takes for you to make money from freelance writing. As I mentioned, this particular article is based on a guest space on our blog from an actual freelance writer who does this 2 times per week and makes money from this on a regular basis. I'm going to put a link to that below again and above for you guys to head over there, check out that article and actually dive a bit deeper. If you really enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button, because that really just helps to encourage so many more people to watch our videos here on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Guys, thanks again for watching. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. Have you ever considered freelance writing as something that you might want to do to make some extra money? If you have done, how much money are you making from freelance writing? Let me know in the comments. And if you've never done this before, has this video convinced you that this might be something you might want to explore to generate some income? Thanks again for watching, guys. And as ever, in all things, be thankful and seek joy. Take care and bye for now.